Hi and welcome. I am so glad that you pressed play on this video. My name is Shannon. I am a certified wellness coach, yoga instructor, sound healer, and Reiki practitioner. I believe that movement is so important to sustain us through everyday life. And when we do challenging yoga poses, it's really important to understand and practice proper alignment so that we can stay safe in our joints and in our body and be able to practice for a really long time. So today we are going to do a tutorial on a pose called Chaturanga Dandasana. It's also known as a yogi push-up, and it's really common to do when you are warming up in active yoga classes. For example, when you are doing your sun salutations and when you are moving through a vinyasa flow class. Proper alignment is especially important for this pose to help protect your shoulders and your wrists. For this tutorial, I recommend laying out a yoga mat, something that is grippy so that you stay stationary as you practice this pose. Also, it is recommended to practice barefoot if you can. And then it can be really helpful to have a yoga strap to help you learn the proper alignment when you bend your elbows. So we'll go through that together. If you don't have a strap, you can use the tie of a bathrobe, you can use a dog leash, you can get creative with what you use. And if you don't have a strap, that's perfectly okay too. You may not need to use it. To get started, go ahead and come up onto your mat. You can come into hands and knees, and we'll just go through the basic alignment of the pose first. We're going to start with the hands. You'll spread your fingers nice and wide, pressing the finger pads down into the mat, pressing the knuckles down into the mat. You want to evenly distribute your weight so that it's not putting unnecessary pressure on the wrists. You want your hands shoulder width apart. So you think about the wrist being placed directly under the shoulders. Nice. Now you're going to walk it back into a high plank. You want your feet to be hip distance apart. So the legs are just a natural extension of the hips. You want to be on the balls of your feet so that your heels are aligned with your toes. And then hug your core in and up. Good. Lengthen through your spine, slight engagement of the glutes. Now, you're going to shift forward so that you're on your tippy toes. Your shoulders are going to come forward. And then you're going to start to bend the elbows. You're going to lower the shoulders so that they're in line with the elbows. Your neck is nice and long, and you're breathing. Good. You can press it back up and take a seat for a moment. So it's about a halfway lower down. You're not lowering all the way down to the ground. You're just lowering enough so that the shoulders and the elbows can be in one line. So you can do that a few times. You can start in your high plank, get all of your alignment nice and squared away, engage the muscles, rock forward, and then start to lower halfway down. And then press back up. You can do that a few times just to get used to shifting your weight. You can roll out the wrists in order to kind of give yourself a moment of reprieve and to recover. Sometimes it can be confusing to know how low you want to go down. You don't actually have to go down very far. So this is where the strap can be really helpful. So if you've got your strap, it can kind of create a little guard rail for how far you want to bend down. So you can start to loop your strap. You're going to measure about shoulder width apart, and then you're going to bring your arms through, and you're going to place the strap right above your elbows. Now you're going to come back into your plank. So this, first and foremost, shows you what shoulder width apart is, so it can ensure that you've got your hands right where they need to be. You'll come into your high plank. You'll align the shoulders over the wrists. You'll align the heels over the toes. Good. Neck alignment here, core engagement. Good. Now you start to shift forward onto the tippy toes, and then you start to lower halfway down. And then you'll notice that that strap is actually going to stop you from going any lower. So once you hit that point, you know that that's where you need to pause. So that is a beautiful way to start to train yourself so that you don't have to go as low as you think you might have to go. Now, another really helpful and important cue in our Chaturanga pose is to squeeze the elbows in by your side. So you don't want the elbows turning out, flaring out. You want to keep them really close into the rib cage. So another really great reason to practice with your strap is because it's going to keep your elbows nice and firm in. So again, we come into our plank, align everything, making sure the hands are in one line, shifting forward, hug those elbows in, go until you can't lower anymore, and then come back up. Beautiful work. There are also some really helpful modifications with Chaturanga. So in the beginning stages, this can be a quite challenging pose to incorporate in your practice. So as you build strength, I want to encourage you to use your knees in this pose to help take some of that weight off. So we're going to do that version together. So similar idea that the hands are going to be shoulder width apart, and you'll come into your plank, but instead of being on the feet, you'll come into your plank on your knees. Good. Now, same idea. You'll start to bend the elbows, hugging them into your sides, lowering halfway down, and then coming back up. And that is a really excellent way to distribute the weight as you build strength. Now, another modification that can be quite helpful for this pose is if you are experiencing any wrist pain or recovering from any wrist injuries. Anytime that we're weight bearing on the palms, it can be a lot for the wrists. And so the first modification that I'm going to give is to come onto your forearms. So from your high plank, you'll lower down to the forearms, keeping everything shoulder width apart. And then you're basically here in your half push-up. No pressure on the wrists. Another really awesome variation is to do Chaturanga on your fists. So you can come into a high plank on the fists. And then similar idea, rocking forward, hug your elbows in as you lower halfway down. So give those modifications a try, see how they feel for you. Now, we're going to go through a sun salutation where you incorporate Chaturanga Dandasana so you can see how it might be used in a vinyasa flow type class. So we'll start standing in Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up. As you exhale, fold forward and down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant your palms down, stepping back into your high plank. As you inhale, shift forward. As you exhale, lower halfway down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. As you exhale, come into your downward facing dog. And there you have it, my friends. That is our Chaturanga tutorial. So I'd love to hear how this tutorial felt for you. If you learned anything new, if you found the props, if you found the modifications helpful for you, make sure that you follow this channel for more tutorials, more yoga flows. Share this with a friend as you continue your yoga journey, and I'll see you again on the mat soon.